The Italian Wine Podcast is the community-driven platform for Italian wine geeks around the world. Support the show by donating at ItalianWinepodcast.com. Donate €5 or more and we'll send you a copy of our latest book, My Italian Grape Geek Journal, absolutely free. To get your free copy of My Italian Grape Geek Journal, click Support Us at ItalianWinepodcast.com or wherever you get your pods. Grazie mille.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today I'm delighted to begin a special new sub-series that highlights the winners of the prestigious 5-Star Wines and Wines Without Walls competition that took place in April, just prior to Vinitaly 2024. Over the course of 3 long days, and they were long days, more than 2,200 wines were tasted by an international jury of wine professionals that included Italian winemakers, sommeliers, Italian and international journalists and wine writers, as well as Italian wine ambassadors and Italian wine experts. Those wines that scored more than 90 points were awarded certificates and have been included in the 5-Star Wines and Wines Without Walls 2024 book, while the very best wines in each category were singled out for special awards. My guest today is Riccardo Brighigna, the winemaker at Cantina Tollo in Abruzzo, which won the 5-Star Wine's Best Rosé Wine award for its Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo DOP Deìvaì 2022. Welcome, Riccardo. Congratulations and thanks for being with us today. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well, Marc. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being with us. I know it's a busy time as always, but for our listeners, I want to give them an impression of where you are, of Tollo and the landscape of the Chieti vineyards where Cantina Tollo is. I know it's a really beautiful and majestic area. So can you describe where you are?
Abruzzo, if you've ever been in Abruzzo, the name they call it the green region of Europe. It is a really green region. Abruzzo, for example, is home to 3 national parks. The Abruzzo National Park, Gran Sasso and the Monti della Laga National Park, which constitute a vast protected area dedicated to conservation of the nature, wildlife. For example, we have several wild animals such as Mexican brown bear, happening wolves, chamois, deer. So it's a very green and uncontaminated region. It's between in the central part of Italy, the same latitude of Rome on the Adriatic Sea. Is from the Adriatic Sea to the mountains. It is important to say that we have the 2 highest mountains in the Apennine of Italy, so up to 3,000 meters. Very interesting landscape.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good picture. And this proximity of the Adriatic and the high mountains, Pennines that rise, that go all along the spine of Italy, are very much a feature of Abruzzo.
Yeah.
Now, Riccardo, Cantina Tollo was founded in 1960 at a time when people from Abruzzo were being forced to leave their homes in search of better lives. Can you give us a very brief history of Cantina Tollo?
Cantina Tollo was born in the 16th, back to the 16th, was founded from a group of viticulturists in not easy period at that time. They decided to found this winery to try to approach the market all together and to try to sell the wine both in the domestic and the international market. Now Cantina Tollo Group, because now we have also another brand that is Feudo Antico, is our premium brand with the separate wineries very close to Cantina Tollo. And now Cantina Tollo Group take care of 2,500 hectares, around 700 associated grape growers, members. And we produce around 18 million bottles, allowing Cantina Tollo to be one of the most important wine business in Italy for both the impact on the role of a national and regional level and the international market.
Mm-hmm.
So last year was not a lucky vintage for Peronospora, but in the average Cantina Tollo, just to give you an idea of the dimension, works 50,000 tons of grapes, around half and half white varieties and red. It is based in the Tollo commune, just in the center of the town. It's a very suggestive position because it's just in the center of the town. The position is our strength, no? As I mentioned earlier, between the Adriatic Sea and the Maiella Massif.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's a very good description. And I think it's important to emphasize to our listeners that Cantina Tollo was born out of a desire to find ways to bring grape growers together to help market the wine, take them to national and international markets. And it's been very successful. It's one of the most important cooperative wineries in Italy, producing a really extensive and impressive range of wines. Riccardo, the mission of Cantina Tollo is to celebrate the territory of Abruzzo. Do say, above all, using the native grape varieties.
Exactly. We feel ourselves the ambassador of the indigenous grape varieties of Abruzzo, because we are the biggest winery with the great tradition, and so we try to confirm the quality of our indigenous varieties. If you want that I describe you these varieties and our wines.
Yes, please. I think if we could do that, that would be good.
Yeah. We have our main historical grape variety is the Trebbiano. We have two clones of Trebbiano. Trebbiano d'Abruzzo is a separate clone, and the Trebbiano Toscano. Trebbiano Toscano is a Tuscany Trebbiano. Is developed in the center of Italy, mainly also in Emilia-Romagna, but in Abruzzo develop a particular character, because, as I mentioned you earlier, Abruzzo enjoy the influence, the climatic influence of the Adriatic Sea and the mountains. No, for example, Tollo is just in the middle, in a straight line. We are at 10 kilometers from the Adriatic Sea and around 30 kilometers from the 3,000 meter altitude, no? So we have in the night the influence of the mountains, and during the day the sea breezing that cool down the temperature. And so the grapes in Abruzzo retain acidity and flavors because of the high diurnal range between day and night, no?
Okay.
So we have a particular character. The best region where you can grow Trebbiano is Abruzzo. It's just Abruzzo. Then we have Pecorino.
Mm-hmm.
Pecorino is a recent discovery back to around 20 years ago, was discovered by a winemaker in Le Marche region. Then Pecorino spread more in Abruzzo than in Le Marche. We have now a lot of Pecorino at a different altitude, different exposure, and Pecorino is very sensitive to altitude, temperature, and diurnal range. So you can find Pecorino along the coast is a fuller body, richer, more spiced, stone fruit character, and you find Pecorino close to the mountains with that develop more grapefruit. I would say Sauvignon Blanc-like character, no? Tariolic character with the higher diurnal range. Then we have Passerina. Passerina is an indigenous variety of both Le Marche region and Abruzzo. Passerina is a late ripening variety, retain a lot of acidity, freshness, pleasant phenolic finish that add the freshness of this variety.
That's very interesting.
Then we have only in Abruzzo autochthonous varieties is a Cococciola.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very interesting that is, in my opinion, is the variety that is adapting best to climate change. Because even in a warm vintage, retain a lot of acidity, freshness, almondy character, chamomile. It's a very, very, very interesting variety. It's very interesting because it's only our variety, no? Because Pecorino, you can find Pecorino in Le Marche Abruzzo, and Passerina as well. And Cococciola is only from Abruzzo, so it's a great potential, no?
Do you think we'll be seeing more Cococciola? We don't see a lot of Cococciola.
Yes,
Do you think that's a great variety that will grow in importance?
Yes, I think so. I think that Abruzzo would invest more in this variety because of our varieties. As also, as I mentioned earlier, Cococciola is the variety that is adapting best to climate change. So, in my opinion, Cococciola is a variety with a great potential.
That's very interesting.
And then our latest discovery, the first bottling dated back of 2-3 years, is Maiolica.
Okay.
Maiolica is a red skinned variety, thin skinned variety with pale ruby color, more elegance than power. So it's just to give you an idea, it's similar to Grenache or Pinot Noir. So this variety is a thin skinned. It's a profile that very appealing to the modern consumer, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've not tasted a Maiolica.
Yeah. And Cantina Tollo was among the first producer that bottled Maiolica. We age Maiolica both in amphora and in the food and with the whole bunches. It's a very interesting variety.
Okay. That's very interesting. And then, of course, your great red grape that people know and love.
It's a Montepulciano, you mean?
Sure.
Of course,
Yes.
of course. It's our historical variety, and Montepulciano is the icon of Abruzzo. In my opinion, Montepulciano is a really undervalued variety, because can express really great wines. With the great potential for aging as well, but overall is a variety that shows a great versatility. You can produce with Montepulciano great rosé, for example, the Cerasuolo. You can produce fruit-driven wines, easy to drink, unoaked, fresh, and you can produce full-body, tannic, age-worthy style of Montepulciano. No?
Mm-hmm.
It's a great versatility, and in Abruzzo, even more, in the different landscape along the coast, close to the mountain. So a great potential to show not a monolithic character, and it shows a wide range of styles.
That's very interesting.
I suppose that in this market is a great potential.
I think that's very important for our listeners to understand as they see Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, wherever they are in the world, to understand this range of wines that can be produced of different styles and different quality levels.
Italian Wine Podcast. If you think you love wine as much as we do, then give us a like and a follow anywhere you get your pods.
Let's focus on your award-winning wine, Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo.
Yeah.
It's a really important style of wine and a really beautiful expression of a rosato. Tell us a little bit about this wine.
Absolutely.
And what does Deìvaì mean?
Deìvaì is a divinity, is an ancient divinity linked with a part of Abruzzo. Deìvaì is a symbol of fertility, and as a symbol of fertility, I think that express the rebirth of the tradition, no?
Okay.
Yes, this fertility can rebirth the tradition because Monte Cerasuolo in the last few years, due to the market trend that one Provençal styles of wine, very pale in color, that is not Cerasuolo. You cannot find rosé on the label of Cerasuolo, but Cerasuolo. So Cerasuolo is a style. The first disciplinary of Cerasuolo is with the skin contact. You have to take the skin contact, so the color is a deep pink. It's not very pale pink. Cantina Tollo, ambassador of the tradition of Abruzzo, decided to create Deìvaì to express the very typical style of Cerasuolo. So it's produced with a very traditional method, up to 8-10 hours of skin contact before the pressing stage, then the jet pressing and the fermentation to dryness in botti grandi, in large oak vessels.
Okay.
But inert vessels, so like the tradition, around 18 degrees Celsius, the temperature of fermentation. Then the wine remain on the fine lees up to 9 months without batonnage before bottling. No malo, so it's a very, very traditional Cerasuolo. We are so happy that the jury of FISA decided for the best of Italy. So it's a great, with the 93 points, was a great success for us and for the tradition of Abruzzo as well.
Yes, certainly. And I think that's a really good description, Riccardo, for our listeners who find the Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo from Cantina Tollo. It's a different category almost of wine from what we think of perhaps as a rosé. It's a fuller style. It's powerful. And I would say that Cerasuolo is perhaps a wine that's been created above all to enjoy with the foods of Abruzzo.
Yeah.
Would you say Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo Deìvaì, for example, is the perfect wine to pair with Brodetto?
Exactly. Great choice. Congratulations, Mark, for the choice. Brodetto is a very typical fish soup of Abruzzo. We think this is one of the best food matching, but not only with the fish, because the character of Cerasuolo is a very full body. This kind of Cerasuolo is also gently oaked. It's very gastronomic. And you can pair Cerasuolo during the summertime. If you don't want to drink red wines during the summer, for example, you can use the Cerasuolo with a very interesting and typical food matching of Abruzzo, such as pasta and fagioli. That is pasta and bean soup. For example, pallotte e cacio e ova. That is a kind of fried balls made of cheese, eggs, and bread crumbs, served as the side dish or appetizer. It's a very typical of Abruzzo.
What is that called again? The name?
The name is pallotte, cacio e ovo.
Okay, pallotto, cacio e ovo.
Yeah, they are fried balls made of cheese, eggs, and bread crumbs.
Okay, great. That sounds delicious.
Yes, very delicious. Yeah.
Would you have the Cerasuolo with the arrosticini?
As well, maybe better with the Montepulciano.
Sure.
Yeah, the best food matching with arrosticini, just to explain, are a sort of skewers of grilled lamb or sheep. It's also a popular street food in Abruzzo, no? You are well informed.
Okay.
Maybe better with Montepulciano, but also good with the Cerasuolo. It depends on maybe also on the season, no? During the summer, maybe it's very enjoyable with the Cerasuolo as well.
Okay. And what temperature would you serve Cerasuolo at? You don't want it too chilled, is that right?
It depends on the style, because you can find different style of Cerasuolo. You can find easy drinking, fruit driven, fresh, with moderate alcohol, and you can drink this kind of Cerasuolo around 10 degrees, 10 degrees of the temperature. And you can find Cerasuolo like Deìvaì in this case, and you keep better higher temperature, because it's also aged in the botti grandi, in large oak vessels, so it's very complex, full body, and maybe better around from 13 to 15 degrees Celsius.
Okay, that's good advice. Now, final question, Riccardo. Can our listeners who may find themselves in Abruzzo, can they visit Cantina Tollo?
Absolutely.
Do you have facilities for hospitality?
Yes, we have. We have built very close to the Cantina Tollo headquarters, a new headquarters for our premium brand, Feudo Antico. The uniqueness of this winery is that it stands of an ancient Roman villa discovered in 2013 during excavation for the winery.
That's very interesting.
It's very interesting. So visitor can also visit the remains of the villa. It's a sort of museum inside the winery. And inside the wineries, there is also hospitality. And so visitors can also sleep inside. We have 4 rooms. They can eat in internal restaurant. There is a chef inside the Feudo Antico headquarters. Visitors can also enjoy a spa. Internal spa.
Wow, that's a fabulous opportunity for wine hospitality and wine tourism. And I'm sure our listeners will be very interested and will hope to find their way there. I would love to visit you, certainly myself.
Thank you.
Riccardo, it's been a pleasure speaking with you this morning, for you sharing something of the story of this historic and hugely important and impressive Cantina Tollo, which has been making wine since 1960. You've given us an overview of the territory, of the great varieties, and indeed we focused on this special wine, Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo Deìvaì, which won this important award at 5-Star Wines. Riccardo, thank you so much for being my guest today. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. The same to you, Mark, and thank you so much for having me.
Grazie. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye. Ciao.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.